In this video, I'm going to show you how to do our front view cuts. So we're going to be modeling and taking apart our front view cuts. Before we start doing that, a few things that we have to think about is, first of all, the area around our CO2 cartridge. To help us see this better, I'm going to go camera, standard views front. But the area around our CO2 cartridge, we should be about 3 millimeters off of that. We also cannot remove the material underneath of our axle holes. So as wide as the axle hole it is, the 4 millimeter diameter or 2 millimeter radius, we want to make sure that we're not removing that underneath the front and back axle holes. And then lastly, if you're planning on doing any kind of like arc from the top view instead of a straight line cut, you want to leave this bottom unaffected right now until later. So if you plan on doing an arc from the top view, I'm just going to the top view to show you what I mean. If you plan on doing something like an arc from here to here, a shape like that, instead of just a straight square going back that way, hold off on taking any of the bottom off underneath too. So going back to my standard views front, and I actually have the camera views turned on there. That's a right-click views, by the way, on the toolbar if you want to turn that on, so it's easier than going camera standard views every time. And I'm going to go to my front there. And one of the important parts about doing this is we want to make sure that we start and end on the model. So I'm going to do the top portion first. I'm going to start by doing just an arc, using the arc tool right here. If I click, and then I click, it's going to allow me to do a kind of a little bend that way, just like so. If I want to carry this out a little further, I can kind of come down, click, and click again, and bend that kind of the opposite way. And then from there, I'm going to use some straight lines, taking my car all the way to the front, close to my axle hole. And from there, I'm going to go back to my radius, because I just kind of want the air to go up and around, hopefully, maybe possibly skip up and around. So clicking here, clicking to the front of my car, maybe even a little bit lower. And I would give some space from your axle holes too, because otherwise you don't want to come out the other side and end up, I guess, cutting through a surface of your car. And I'm actually going to go up a little bit, so hopefully this bend kind of causes the air to go up and over to my backside. Now, the next thing I can do is I can take my push-pull tool. If I orbit just a little bit around, I can come in and I can cut this portion off, just like so. So now I have the front view of my car, just like that. Now, the next thing I can do is I can cut any little portions I want to off my bottom. I'm going to leave my middle right now unaffected because I'm going to end up doing more of an arc than straight line cuts. So coming in from there, I'm going to go back to my camera view front, and I'm going to take out some material underneath my axle holes. And once again, I'm going to use the arc. Kind of up to you how you want to look this way. And I want to be about 3 millimeters away from there, so I'm just going to move down just a little bit. If you want to get a gauge, you can always use your guideline. Come onto this piece and just come down 3, enter. So that way you have an idea where you can start away from your CO2 car hole. It's just good to do. And then if you want to be really close over here too, you can do the same thing for the top. 3, enter. And that way you can just see those about where they actually are. So I could actually go down a little bit closer, which I might. Competitive. Now, the next portion, once again going back to my arc, I'm going to take a little bit away right here. Remember, I can't take away underneath my axle hole, but I can get really close, so right to the edge, and kind of bending that. And I can bend it either way. This is underneath that portion. And then, once again, use our push-pull tool, along with a little bit of orbit so we can see the backside, to click on that surface and move back. One of the things that I forgot to mention was making sure that you're in the model. I've been doing this the whole time and not realized that I did double click in, but one of the important things is to be in the model. If you're not, it won't work correctly. And then I'm going to go to the front of the car and remove a little bit of material there too. So back to my front view, excuse me, and then going here, I'm just going to do a straight line cut underneath from my point that I used my arc, kind of close to what I have right here. And that's kind of ugly, so actually I'm going to do escape there, which stops that action from happening. Works in any tool. And I'm going to do more of an arc. Change my mind. Indecisive. Remember, we can't add material, so tangent to edge is as far as we can go. And then, lastly, one more time, coming in and cutting this portion away. By clicking on the front, push pulling it back to the back. Orbit, zoom in. You can do camera view ISO to C, or your full car to kind of check out what's going on there as far as on the back side that's mirrored. Once again, I am going to end up cutting this portion out in the bottom and kind of make it skinnier as I go down here. But before I do that, I'm going to do some adjustments on my top view. So if you aren't worried about your top view, if you're just doing straight line cuts, you can do that right now in this step. If you are going to do an arc on this top view, you want to wait till later. Thank you for watching the video. Good luck.